15501 in Southern Pines. And thank you for voting for the Pilot's Pinehurst Toyota Best of the Pines Service Department and Sandhills Magazine Best Dealership in Moore County.
The greatest comeback of all time is underway. Remember to shop local businesses. A reminder from Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM, WEEB.
The Zumwalt Zone is proudly sponsored by Moore County Citizens for Freedom, always looking out for you.
Hello, I'm John Zumwalt, and you're in the Zumwalt Zone. You know, a phrase we hear, and in fact, a phrase that we say a lot, a phrase that's easy to say, but we don't always do it. And it's extremely simple. Just make good choices. That's all there is to it. Just make good choices. Sometimes, though, it's not that easy. As an adult, I look back and I remember there are a lot of times I didn't make a good choice. I'm not about to tell you what all of them were, but I will say that I probably should have thought twice before I painted Jesse Dukey's windshield green with a brush. Apparently, he either did not like the color or he didn't think it was all that funny. Either way, it goes in the category of make good choices. That's all I want to say about that, except to say that if you must paint someone's windshield, either get the right color or make sure it's not a big guy, just in case. In Moore County, we're about to make choices for school board. And we have choices. I believe the obvious choices for school board are Benway, Bruno, and Davis. I most certainly would not expect you to take my word for that, and I hope you'll research it and join me in supporting them. Their opponents are good people, and it'd be easy to vote for someone just because they're a good person. That's what got us in this trouble. We need change, serious change, not clones of our current school board. Benway, Bruno, and Davis are my obvious top picks. I hope you'll research, and I hope you'll join me in my support of them in the Zumwalt Zone.
Today we'll head into the mid-60s and the mid-70s. Those clouds will be moving in for today, and it's still going to be breezy as those winds move in out of the north. Tonight we'll fall to the mid-50s, and we'll begin to see our unsettled pattern move in starting tomorrow. Highs will be below normal for this time of the year in the upper 60s and lower 70s, but we're going to add rain to the mix, those showers building in from the east to the west. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
And now, the Sandhills #1 morning show. Mornings with LeaderMan. Here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. And heard and seen around the world at talk973.com.
The best part of waking up is waking up with us.
There is a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity.
Woo, Twilight Zone.
This is the dimension of imagination.
That is weird.
It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Imagine there's a day called National Twilight Zone Day.
Oh my God, this is like a Twilight Zone.
May 11th is National Twilight Zone Day.
Okay, next up, Twilight Zone. Welcome to the show.
You can buy me diamond earrings and na 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 na, but I smell her on your collar, so bye 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 bye. I know you lie, show you some movie. Tell me, do you think I'm dumb? I might be young, but I ain't stupid. Talking round in circles with your tongue, I give you bass, you give me sweet.
Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. Welcome back to the most listened to program in all of the Sandhills. Time once again for Mornings with the LeaderMan. I am Steve Leader Adams, and don't forget, of course, we're being heard and seen around the world on a live video stream. That's up and running at talk973.com or talk1041.com or WEEB990.com. Top middle of the page is where the link's located. On your mobile device, you can get us also with YouTube. Just put Mornings with the LeaderMan in the search. LeaderMan, one word spelled like it sounds. If you just want an audio stream that we transmit all day long, well, you can get that 24/7 from the website. Upper right-hand corner of every page has an icon that says on the air, listen live. Click that once and you're listening that quick. Weather for us today here in the Sandhills area is going to be another delightful day. Don't give up on me yet song. Let's see here. Look for things to be partly cloudy today with a high of 75. Then tonight, partly cloudy, 57. Thursday, there are chances for showers and maybe a thunder boomer increase. Look for a high of 69 as this front comes through. Then Thursday night, cloudy with a chance of showers, a low of 61. For Friday, cloudy with showers and a chance of thunderstorms and a high of 75. And for Saturday, over the weekend here, we're going to have precipitation on Saturday. Partly cloudy, scattered showers and thunderstorms, high of 80. Sunday, all the wet stuff's pushed out. Will be partly cloudy with a high of 66. And Monday, as we go back to work, partly cloudy with a high of 87. Right now around the Sandhills, winds are they're calm. Pressure 30-50. Solar radiation 22 watts per square meter. Dew point 39. Humidity 57%. Is sunny and 53 degrees currently here at Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. All right, it is 7:35, 35 past the hour on this Wednesday. Glad to have you all along. The Colonel off today, so Ron is going to pull a solo, but I will make sure it's entertaining for you. First up in the queue, we got to talk about a little bit about inflation because Joe Biden addressed that yesterday, and of course, Jen Psaki also addressed it and said that the cause of inflation was the war in Ukraine was the top cause. Other causes was COVID. Well, obviously neither one of them have ever taken an economic course, otherwise they wouldn't say something so stupid. But luckily, I'm here, and I did major in economics, and I've lived through these recessions before, and they're not pretty. We've had negative GDP growth, 2 consecutive quarters of negative GDP growth equals a recession, and 4 quarters equal a depression. So, or is it 6? Been a while. Anyway, the problem is, of course, we got skyrocketing inflation. And where does that come from? Just where it was when he started this presidency. He started choking off oil supply. Now, we went from a good place where we were exporting oil because we had too much of it. Prices were down. The gas pumps were under $2. But that all changed when Joe Biden came into play, shut down the XM pipeline day one. There went 10,000 jobs. And he started choking off leased lands. Now, you got to remember who's on these leased government lands drilling for oil. It's not Exxon and Shell and the other big guys for the most part. It's small independent companies that can't afford to drill a dry well. And they need, they took away a lot of the lease lands from them, saying you can't drill on these. And then the others, they don't permit easily. Can't get the permits. They can't go investing until permits are issued to allow them to drill. And in most cases, those are being held up by government bureaucrats who got this green agenda, who think, oh, this will drive everybody to drive an electric car. Well, we don't have enough manufacturing capacity to meet their plan of everybody driving a beanie car. So what do? Well, you keep on producing. You can keep on doing green things, but you got to work into it. You just can't pull out the saber like his name will come to me. It'll come. Anyway, you can't pull out the saber and just chop off the use of carbon or petroleum products. They're in everything. You can't look around you without seeing products that were petroleum. They're in medical big time. Even the needles you get stuck with, made out of petroleum. So we can't do away with it. We got to have it. And we sure can use it in our cars and in our trucks. Diesel fuel's out of sight. And guess what? Everything that gets hauled to your store or to you comes in on a truck. And you can't just jack the prices up and expect the rest of the economy to stay behind. I've said this before, that we follow energy. We had this happen back in the 80s. We had it happen back in the 70s. In the 70s, you had Arthur Burns at the helm of the Federal Reserve. And the problem back then was they had usury laws. What's a usury law? Usury laws were laws that prevented banks from going above a certain interest rate in their loans. They said, okay, we'll cap it at 12%, which I think it was the number then. And you can't loan more than, you can't get more than 12% on interest. Well, the banks couldn't get the money at that rate and then loan it out and make a profit. So when it cost more to borrow it than they could loan it for, there was no money to be had. It was just not there. Well, it took Arthur Burns a while to let that soak in because they're so determined that they're always right. And higher interest rates and throwing you out of a job is the way to knock down inflation. It doesn't have to get knocked down that way. We could be making huge inroads into the inflation problem simply by becoming energy independent again. We were there, and of course, he had to screw it all up. You ease into this, the green stuff, and the problem with the green stuff, most of it takes more fossil fuels to produce it than you get back in green savings. So we got to ease into the green situation, but we need to start lowering gas prices. And how do you do that? You increase the future oil supplies. You open up that XL pipeline. You allow permits to be issued so that drillers can start drilling. Now, it won't be overnight, but as long as the future supply looks solid there, then prices will start retreating. You increase the oil supply, the price of oil comes down, and as I told you before, where oil goes, so goes the rest of the economy. If oil goes up, prices go up. You have inflation. And then what the Federal Reserve, they'll always tell you, well, the Federal Reserve is there to help control inflation. Nothing could be further from the truth. All they do is throw you out of work, break the economy until people can't get jobs. That's the point they want it at, and then prices will fall because demand will fall radically. That's what happened with Arthur Burns. He was a board chairman back in the 80s, and I was building a lot of houses under him. And I'll tell you something else. Back in the 70s, 80s, mortgage prices were a good mortgage price was 6.5. 7.5% were we were building about as much as we could in the country. Where let's see, we were building right at 1.8 million homes. Today we're building 800,000 homes in this country. And one of the problems there is about 1 million homes burn down every year. So we're not even keeping up with the staying level with the inventory. But it will come back. And we were still recovering in the housing industry. It's still doing well, but, you know, that will change if the Federal Reserve has its way. Janet Yellen keeps on bumping these interest rates. You'll remember, what was his name? Doggone it. Married to Andrea Mitchell. It'll come to me. Anyway, the Fed chairman after Alan Greenspan, there you go. Alan Greenspan got in there and he said instead of doing it big chunks like Paul Volcker did, Paul Volcker just started running it up every day. It was a half a point to a full point higher on the interest rates till it got to 21.5% was prime rate. Can you imagine? 21.5%. And businesses, I hate to tell you, don't borrow at prime, even good, strong ones. I mean, big corporations might be able to get it, but the prime was just a mark. Most people were paying prime plus 2 or prime plus 3 or prime plus 4, depending on how solid the company was, and borrowing the money that way. Well, guess what? That had to get passed on in the form of higher prices for goods and services. Like I said, you keep on raising the inflation rate, well, then it reached the breaking point where people stop buying, prices start to fall, and people lose jobs. And careers are destroyed. And financial lives are destroyed. And retirement packages are destroyed. All because they allow all this inflation in here, and it's so easy to turn it the other way. How do you do that? You turn the oil prices south. You got to be producing more than is necessary. And when you reach that point, then the oil prices will come down rapidly. And then guess what? It's cheaper to ship goods and services because the oil has come down. It's a necessary evil, if that's what you want to call it. But you can't just get rid of it. Well, I buy a pants. Well, you're still using oil. And it takes carbon products to create these e-products. So in order to keep a sustained economy, we have to get that oil price down. And that means allowing drilling and issuing permits and making it easier for these independent drillers to be able to finance the projects so they can get down there where the oil is, and that requires some fracking, and so be it. All this instant anti-fossil fuels has got to end. And this global warming we have natural global warming. And there ain't a thing mankind can do about it. We got 70 active volcanoes that are just stirring up and spewing greenhouse-like gases all day, every day. And if you wipe man off the face of this earth, it is still going to warm up. Why? The big cause is the axis that the earth rotates on. We're at a what? 23 plus degree axis facing the sun. And but we also have the axis where it's wobbling. The axis itself, the center line, makes a little circle at the top and bottom. And that circle takes 30,000 years to make one circle. So when it's circling toward the sun, we will have more heat and more warming. And when the axis starts fading away from the sun, well, we'll get back into another ice age. Because we'll be in another ice age in about 10,000 years. I know we won't be around for it, but like I said, the warming is coming whether you like it or not, and there's nothing you can do to stop it. You can have all these energy crap that you want, but you know what? It's not going to make any difference in the numbers. Nothing significant. You might clean up like Beijing, which has a ton of pollution in it. That would be great for everybody. But it's not going to slow down global warming. It's just a waste of time and money. And it's not such a waste to clean up the atmosphere from unnecessary gases. But you cannot flip that switch so quick, and you got to be judicious about it. You have to make way for the transition time. It may take 30, 40, 50 years to start really transitioning well. But let's get ourselves back under control where people can function, because this inflation is going to destroy this economy. It will start throwing people out of work because they can't afford to work. Because all their transportation costs are, eating up. Let's suppose you make $20,000 a year. Guess what? That's $400 a week. And it's costing you $100 a week minimum in gas prices, in fuel, to get you to and from the work and to and from the grocery store. At least $300 left for rent, food, and any other items you may need. A doctor's visit, whatever. And you can't make it on that. So government has to step in and give away money. We got to, like I said, get those energy prices down. That will push inflation down, and we'll start heading back in the right direction as far as inflation is concerned. And the Federal Reserve can then back off these rate hikes because inflation will take care of itself and start to diminish as we resupply ourselves with oil and start being the world shipper of oil, knocking down that demand from Putin, because people aren't buying from Putin as much, and they can really wipe it out from buying Putin if we can supply the deficit. But you can't tell the know-it-alls in Congress there. I've lived through 4 of these recessions, and they're no fun, and they can break your back. We had one in, 2008 under Bush, who was probably just as bad as Biden is as far as a president goes. He just about broke the economy all by himself and kept it a secret most of the way. Some of the things that are being said on Twitter today head in that direction. Representative Jim Jordan says your grocery store shelves are empty, but Hunter Biden's bank account is full. Yeah, it's funny how when the feds come after you or other people, it doesn't take forever. I don't know what's taking Durham so long. Oh, yeah, I do. He's a government employee. They have no reason to go faster because it doesn't pay extra. And that's the way they look at it. That's the problem with these career federal employees in high-ranking places. They do it their way, but they do it at their pace. And they don't try to do anything that might improve the situation or bring costs down because it doesn't pay them extra to do it. Let's see. Dagan McDowell. Biden, you're frustrated. I can taste it. That's what Biden said. And Dagan said, what does it taste like, Joe? I have ideas. Anyway, let's get you that quote up there of Joe uttering more ignorance for you. Take it away, Joe.
You got to be frustrated. I know. I can taste it. Frustrated by high prices, by gridlock in Congress. You got to be.
Yeah, somebody else's fault. Yeah, always is. Tom Cotton says the protesters who are harassing and threatening Supreme Court justices at their homes are breaking the law. Every one of them should be arrested. Well, you know that Democrats get that bubble of protection around them, then nobody will touch them. Because Joel Reed will be out there saying, that's racist. That's racist. Everything is racist to her. Let's see. Elon Musk said he would reverse Trump's suspension from Twitter and called the ban morally wrong and flat out just stupid. Come on, give me Elon now. For some reason, it's not going all of a sudden. Yo. There it goes. All right, Elon Musk.
Are you planning to let Donald Trump back on?
Well, I think there's a general question of should Twitter have permanent bans? And, you know, I've talked with Jack Dorsey about this, and he and I are of the same mind, which is that permanent bans should be extremely rare and really reserved for people where they're trying to, for accounts that are bots or spam scam accounts, where there's just no legitimacy to the account at all. I do think that it was not correct to ban Donald Trump. I think that was a mistake because it alienated a large part of the country and did not ultimately result in Donald Trump not having a voice. He is now going to be on Truth Social, as will a large part of the sort of the right in the United States, and so I think this could end up being, frankly, worse than having a single forum where everyone can debate. I guess the answer is that I would reverse the perma ban. Obviously, I don't own Twitter yet, so this is not like a thing that will definitely happen, because what if I don't own Twitter? But my opinion, and Jack Dorsey, I want to be clear, shares this opinion, is that we should not have perma bans. Now that doesn't mean that somebody gets to say whatever they want to say. If they say something that is illegal or otherwise, just destructive to the world, then that there should be perhaps a timeout, a temporary suspension, or that particular tweet should be made invisible or have very limited traction. But I think perma bans just fundamentally undermine trust in Twitter as a town square where everyone can voice their opinion. It was I think it was a morally bad decision, to be clear, and foolish in the extreme.
Even after he egged on the crowd who went to the US Capitol, some of them carrying nooses, you still think it was a mistake to remove him?
I think if there are tweets that are wrong, they should, and bad, those should be either deleted or made invisible, and a suspension, a temporary suspension is appropriate, but not a permanent ban.
So if the deal completes, he might potentially come back on, but with the understanding that if he does something similar again, he'll be back in the sin bin.
He has publicly stated that he will not be coming back to Twitter, and that he will only be on Truth Social. And this is the point that I'm trying to make, which is perhaps not getting across, is that banning Trump from Twitter didn't end Trump's voice. It will amplify it among the right. And this is why it is morally wrong and flat out stupid.
All right, Elon Musk, giving his opinion about the banning and whether Trump will come back. Yeah, they'll open up the doors to him. Will he come back? Right now he says he won't. He'll stay on Truth Social, which is just breaking ground good with its application. Let's see. Other tweet this morning, Kevin McCarthy House Republicans just introduced legislation to terminate President Biden's Ministry of Truth. It is an egregious abuse of government overreach. This is nothing more than a ploy by the Biden administration to exert influence over your free speech, which is correct. And Bill McGurn said to reduce prices, Biden proposes increasing subsidies, raising taxes on the rich, make them pay their fair share. What a bunch of baloney. And increasing regulations. Yeah, that will bring the cost of goods and services down. This crap about raising taxes on the rich. If you sit there and start picking at their nest, they will move their nest somewhere else. It'll be gone out there in Cyberland and into the Bahamas and Grand Cayman and whatnot. They will move their businesses overseas where it's more tax-friendly, because we're one of the highest taxes on business in the world. Anyway, got some major announcement news next hour. You want to be here for it. Right now in the Sand Hills, we're looking at 55 degrees. All your news, sports, and weather is next. And I'll be back on the other side. Stick around.
Today we'll head into the mid-60s and the mid-70s. Those clouds will be moving in for today, and it's still going to be breezy as those winds move in out of the north. Tonight we'll fall to the mid-50s, and we'll begin to see our unsettled pattern move in starting tomorrow. Highs will be below normal for this time of the year in the upper 60s and lower 70s, but we're going to add rain to the mix, those showers building in from the east to the west. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Broadcasting from the top of the North Carolina Sandhills, 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM, WEEB, Southern Pines, Pinehurst, Aberdeen.
Breaking news this hour from townhall.com. I'm Jeremy House. Ukraine stopped the flow of Russian natural gas through a hub that feeds European homes. It made some gains in grinding battles near a key northeastern city. In 11 weeks, the war has played out on battlefields in Ukrainian towns and cities, but also in energy and financial markets. Nebraska has chosen its GOP candidate for governor.
Republican Jim Pillen has won the party's primary race for governor in Nebraska. The hog farmer and veterinarian beat a crowded GOP field, including a candidate endorsed by former President Donald Trump. Pillen defeated 8 challengers, including Trump-backed businessman Charles Herbster. Late in the primary, Herbster faced an accusation of inappropriately touching young women.
That's correspondent Andrew Stewart reporting. The Senate takes a test vote today on legislation that would enshrine into federal law the landmark 1973 Roe v. Wade decision that legalized abortion nationwide. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says there's no way the Democrats' bill to protect abortion access will pass.
Historically, there have been abortion votes on the floor of the Senate. None of them have achieved 60 votes. This particular measure the Democrats have today is particularly radical.
Democratic Senator Jackie Rosen of Nevada tells reporters she hopes the possibility that abortion could be outlawed in dozens of states will animate voters.
We have to take that fear, we have to take that anger that we're feeling, channel it into action to defend our majority.
On Wall Street, Dow futures are ahead 328 points. NASDAQ futures are up by 174.5. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Thinking about life insurance? What if you could make one free phone call and learn your best price from nearly a dozen highly rated, price-competitive companies? Well, that's exactly what happens when you call SelectQuote Life. For example, George is 40. He was getting sky-high quotes from other companies because he takes meds to control his blood pressure. But when I shopped around, I found him a 10-year, $500,000 policy for under $25 a month. I'm SelectQuote agent Dan Savino. And believe me, if SelectQuote isn't shopping for your life insurance, you're probably paying too much.
For a free quote, call 800-523-3771. That's 800-523-3771. 800-523-3771.
or go to selectquote.com. Since 1985, we shop, you save.
Get full details on the example policy at selectquote.com/commercials. Or price could vary depending on your health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states.
An interesting TV tidbit from Saturday's Kentucky Derby.
It's said that seeing is believing, and that appears to be the reason for a big spike in viewership for the Run for the Roses. The spike in question came not during the Kentucky Derby, but after it. It appears people wanted to see if it was true that 80-1 long shot Rich Strike actually won the race, and that added up to more people watching replays of the race than watched the Derby live. NBC said some 36 million people watched the finish on its social media accounts, while live Derby coverage was seen by an average of 16 million on the network and on its streaming service, Peacock. I'm Oscar Wells Gabriel.
The remote Greek island of Telos has pioneered a recycling plant that could act as a blueprint for other islands, including popular holiday destinations that struggle with waste disposal. The island has just 500 year-round inhabitants and is a 15-hour ferry journey from the mainland. News and analysis at townhall.com. An Indiana sheriff says the Alabama murder suspect and jailer who evaded authorities for more than a week were heavily armed and preparing for a shootout when they were captured. Vanderburgh County Sheriff Dave Wedding says they were carrying 4 handguns and an AR-15 rifle, along with $29,000 in cash. Lauderdale County, Alabama Sheriff Rick Singleton says Casey White is being extradited back to Alabama from Indiana.
He'll be brought here to Florence, where he will have immediately have an arraignment on the escape charges. That has to take place within 72 hours. And as soon as that arraignment is over, he'll be loaded back up and transported back to the Alabama Department of Corrections.
A journalist for the Al Jazeera network was shot and killed while covering an Israeli raid in the occupied West Bank town of Jenin. Shireen Abu Akleh was shot and died soon afterward, early Wednesday. More on these stories at townhall.com.
As our economy gradually reopens, remember to support local.
Know you're doing the right thing and stay proud.
Be a part of the greatest comeback of all time with Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
Rising inflation and gas prices have demonstrated one thing. Joe Biden's America has failed us. Roy Cooper's mask mandates and the indoctrination of K through 12 students are failing North Carolina's future. My name is Ben Moss, and I'm the conservative Republican running for re-election to the State House of Representatives. Since elected, I have stood up against the Joe Biden and Roy Cooper agenda and worked in opposition to their mask and vaccine mandates. I've also fought hard against critical race theory indoctrination in schools, and I've stopped all efforts by the left to defund the police. I will continue to protect the lives of the unborn and defend our Second Amendment rights. My name is Ben Moss, and I need your vote on May 17th in the Republican primary election. Learn more at www.benmossnc.com. Paid for by Ben Moss NC House.
Aaron Cooper here with Cooper Ford. To say the past year and a half has been tough is an understatement. And it's during these times that we truly value the community in which we all live in. At Cooper Ford, we continue to do all we can to pour support back into the community because taking care of each other is what it's all about. And that's why we won't have any market adjustment stickers or any of our new Fords like so many other dealers. We believe in fair and honest pricing and have from day one. So please come see us here in beautiful Carthage or visit us on the web at cooperford.net.
Cooper Ford, working hard to be your hometown dealer.
This is Dr. Terry Ann Sams from Sandhills Weekend Dental. Here we grow again. I am excited to introduce Miss Nancy, our newest team member.
Hello, my name is Nancy. I will be assisting Dr. Sams in your care. I look forward to seeing you.
Call Sandhills Weekend Dental today at 910-687-4423.
Eat, kiss, and smile better.
Hey, there are hundreds of restaurants in Moore County. Some are unique, but only one has Zaxby's sauce. Zaxby's on 15501 in Southern Pines. Zaxby's has the most chicken options in town, whether you want it hot or not. Zaxby's can do it all. Their vast menu has something for everyone, no matter if you're dining in or driving up to take it home. Zaxby's has the cure for your chicken craving. Located on 15501 in Southern Pines near Holiday Inn Express.
War Dogs Army Surplus is Moore County's largest selection of Army surplus. They buy, sell, and trade Army surplus, and they'll match any legitimate offer from competitors with a price match guarantee. They'll match and beat any competitor's price by 10%. With the largest selection of vintage and modern gear and collectibles, War Dogs has everything you're looking for. Open Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. 675 Southwest Broad Street in Southern Pines, or call 910-920-7749. That's 910-920-7749. War Dogs. We offer more and sell for less.
Did harsh winter weather and spring pollen leave your home or business looking tired and dingy? Let Gentle Renew clean it for you using their top-rated gentle exterior cleaning or pressure washing and make it look new again. They can clean driveways, patios, exterior siding, stained roofs, and they can even clean your gutters and windows. A local, veteran-owned family business, they will get the job done right. Call them for a quote at 910-565-9245 or visit them on the web at gentlerenew.com and see for yourself how they will make your home or business look new again.
NCI News. I'm Mike Rayleigh. The National Park Service has 2 unoccupied beach houses have fallen into the waves along North Carolina's coast, the Outer Banks community of Rodanthe. Outer Banks expert and longtime resident Sam Walker told NCI News a storm off the coast is unabating at this point.
Lost another of those houses at Ocean Drive just south of Rodanthe Pier. So 2 of those houses. There's a total of 11 that were considered threat.
Last night, the U.S. House of Representatives debated the new $40 billion Ukraine aid package. Congresswoman Rose DeLaroa of Connecticut says it needed to thwart Vladimir Putin's 3-month-old invasion.
The cruelty against innocent civilians at the hands of Putin and his cronies is devastating. The images of the violence and terror coming from Ukraine should horrify us all.
There's another spike at the pump, with experts comparing that rapid rise in prices now to a similar jump earlier this year. Tiffany Wright with Charlotte-based AAA Carolinas tells us that truckers are being hit with sky-high diesel prices.
When we're talking about diesel prices, there's no way of getting around that at all. I mean, we need products. We need groceries to sustain. And when we can't get those goods delivered to us, and when those goods are being delivered to us at such a high price, and we just have inflation, and it's such a domino effect with what we're seeing with gas prices.
Police in Romeoville, Illinois, say they responded to multiple calls of an armed man in a bank on Tuesday afternoon. The suspect, shot by SWAT officers, died after being taken to the hospital. Romeoville Deputy Police Chief Brad Hardovick.
Officers were able to communicate with the individual who allowed the hostages inside the business to walk out to waiting officers.
Rocky Mount police say a 9-year-old boy was hit by a bullet, his grandfather says.
It's like a target, right at his house. I just saw him day before yesterday.
You're listening to NCI News.
It's the first day of the first grade, and she found a new best friend. It's a laid-back Sunday afternoon you wish would never end. The homemade taste of Bluebell and good friends gathered round. The good old days are being made right now.
When Bluebell takes milk chocolate ice cream and loads it with chocolate-coated peanut butter cups and peanut butter cookie dough pieces, you get chocolate peanut butter overload. Better by a country smile.
The good old days are being made right now. The good old days are being made right now.
A passenger with no flying experience landed a plane in the afternoon on Tuesday at Florida's Palm Beach International Airport. 2 people were on board the single-engine aircraft, and the pilot became incapacitated due to what the FAA calls a possible medical issue. The air traffic controller was able to provide instruction to the passenger, who managed to bring the plane safely down.
I have no idea how to fly the airplane, but I'm maintaining at 9100.
Number 333, Lima Delta, Roger. What's your position?
I have no idea. I can see the coast of Florida in front of me, and I have no idea.
What was the situation with the pilot?
He is incoherent. He is out.
3 Lima Delta, roger. Try to hold the wings level and see if you can start descending for me.
The DEQ held a public hearing at UNCW's campus in Wilmington to share with the public Chemours' development of drinking water well sampling plan and provision of alternate drinking water. Secretary Elizabeth Blaser, the Department of Environmental Quality, told WECT, get your well checked.
That is going to give us valuable information to understand the extent of the contamination and also to make sure that if your well is impacted, that we can get you help.
An actor stages an act of defiance at Starbucks.
James Cromwell superglued his hand to a counter at a New York City Starbucks to protest the upcharge for plant-based alternatives like oat milk.
There's no reason for it except greed.
Greed, explained the 82-year-old Oscar nominee who wore a T-shirt that read, "Free the Animals." Deborah Rodriguez, CBS News.
Duke University is looking into concerns that a student commencement speaker may have plagiarized parts of her speech. Mariah Parkash is a Duke student who gave the speech on Sunday. It was similar to one given in 2014 at Harvard University. Mike Riley, NCN News.
This afternoon, we'll see a mix of sun and clouds, highs in the mid-60s and the mid-70s. Those winds will still be blowing in out of the north and gusting around 25 to 30 miles per hour at times. We are going to see clouds thicken tonight. Temperatures will fall into the mid-50s with highs below normal for this time of the year. Tomorrow, in the upper 60s and lower 70s, rain will begin to move in, so enjoy this afternoon. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
Right now, here in the Sand Hills area, it's sunny and 55 degrees. Humidity 52%, 2.37 winds east-southeast at 3, gusting to 4. Pressure 30-50 and solar radiation at 27 watts per square meter. Let's take a look at your Sand Hills news for your Wednesday morning. Tears, tight hugs, and smiles as Fort Bragg soldiers returned from a long deployment yesterday. The troops with the 3rd Expeditionary Sustainment Command were supposed to return on Monday, but after 2 delays, they arrived shortly before 5 a.m. The unit is returning home from a 9-month deployment in Kuwait. They played an integral part of the evacuation of more than 100,000 people and 7,000 American troops from the airport in Kabul last August. More soldiers from Fort Bragg are deployed in Eastern Europe in response to the war in Ukraine. There is no timeline for when they will return home. At only 15 years old, Union Pines High School rising star Julia Armitage, whose local fans know her by her stage name, Julia Golden, is looking forward to a bright future attending the prestigious Interlochen Arts Academy. Getting accepted into Interlochen Arts Academy is no small feat. Only 3% of all applicants are ever accepted. Located in northern Michigan, this prestigious art school teaches a wide array of fine arts, from music to visual arts and creative writing. Not only has Julia been accepted, but she has been accepted on a scholarship and will be attending Interlochen for her junior and senior years. Interlochen alumni include dozens of big names such as Josh Groban, Terry Crews, Ed Helms, and Jewel. And a teenager accused of fleeing from law enforcement in a stolen vehicle was arrested Thursday. The arrest of a Lakeview man came after a vehicle chase and the recovery of a vehicle that was stolen. Deputies with the sheriff's office conducted a traffic stop in Lakeview on a vehicle that matched the description of a vehicle that was previously stolen from the Aberdeen area. The driver attempted to flee from deputies onto US 1 and then down Highway 690 toward Lobelia. The pursuit ended on a dead-end road off of Highway 690, where the driver crashed the vehicle into the wood line and attempted to flee on foot. Deputies quickly apprehended the suspect. Deputies arrested Yordi Palacio, age 19. Palacio was charged with felony fleeing to elude, resisting public officer, possession of a stolen motor vehicle, and numerous traffic violations. That's your WEEB local news this morning from the Sand Hill Sentinel. And you can go online to sandhillsentinel.com for more information. It is 8:18, time for sports, right here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM, WEEB.
The Morning Sports Report is brought to you by Hughes Supply of Pinehurst. With over 50 years' experience, Hughes Supply can handle all your plumbing project needs from start to finish. Call 910-295-5541 or visit them online at HughesSupplyPinehurst.com.
NCN Sports, I'm Josh Zach. The Carolina Hurricanes beat the Boston Bruins 5-1 last night at PNC Arena in Raleigh to take a 3-2 lead in their NHL first-round playoff series. Penalty problems led to losses in games 3 and 4 at Boston, and the goal for last night's game 5 was to stay out of the box. Canes' first-year forward Seth Jarvis said the game plan paid off.
That's always huge for us, especially when we're staying out of the box, being able to be dominant 5-on-5 and play as well as we did today. I think that's going to be the biggest thing carrying forward into next game.
The rookie scored twice last night. Head coach Rod Brindamore said there's good things to come from him, and he's playing loose, and he credited that to his young age.
Well, you love seeing that, obviously, for anyone on your team, but the young kid that comes in and then just earning his way in the league and then earning his way up the chart, in every aspect of the game. And so, I can't say enough good things about him. I think he's going to keep getting better because there's a lot still to learn. He's a young kid.
The Canes can clinch the series with a win tomorrow night in Boston. Elsewhere on the ice, a 3-point game from Edmonton Stars was not enough to save the Oilers. Adrian Kempe's overtime goal moved the LA Kings within a first-round victory of advancing into playoffs. He scored a minute 12 into overtime to give the Kings a 5-4 win over the Oilers on Tuesday night for a 3-2 lead in their first-round playoff series. And Vladimir Tarasenko had 3 goals in the third period to break open a tied game as the St. Louis Blues pushed the Minnesota Wild to the edge of elimination with a 5-2 win in Game 5. NBA playoffs, the Miami Heat are 1 game away from a trip to the Eastern Conference Finals after topping the 76ers 120-85 last night. Devin Booker's 28 points and DeAndre Ayton's 20 gave the Phoenix Suns a 110-80 win over the Dallas Mavericks. They have a 3-2 lead in their Western Conference semi-series. This is NCN Sports.
NC Green Power is a nonprofit promoting a cleaner energy future through its Solar Plus Schools grant program. Recipient schools receive a 5-kilowatt solar array with a weather station, a STEM curriculum, and training for teachers. Having already impacted 56 schools throughout our state, they hope to award at least 1 school in all 100 counties. You can help make this possible by supporting Solar Plus Schools today. Visit ncgreenpower.org to learn more and to donate to support K-12 STEM education. ncgreenpower.org.
Vaccines keep us safe and healthy.
You're not the only person out there. When you're vaccinated, you're vaccinating yourself, but you're protecting the community.
Look at the numbers, look at the hospitalization stays, the length of stays, and make your decisions based on that.
Come talk to me. That's what we're here for. Talk to your pharmacist, talk to your primary care doctor, talk to your healthcare provider.
You have a spot. Take your shot.
Everyone 5 and older can get a COVID-19 vaccine. Visit myspot.nc.gov.
Angels rookie Reed Detmers pitched the Majors' second no-hitter of the season, cruising after he benefited from a borderline error call in the 7th inning as L.A. beat the Tampa Bay Rays 12-0. The 22-year-old lefty threw a career-high 108 pitches in his 11th big league start, striking out 2 and walking 1. He completed the 12th no-hitter in franchise history when Yandy Diaz grounded out to shortstop Andrew Velasquez to end the game. The Carolina Panthers have agreed to a 4-year contract with first-round draft pick Ikem Ekwonu. He's the 6th overall pick in this year's draft, and he agreed to a 4-year rookie contract with the team and an option for a 5th season. In terms of the deal not released, he is slated to become the team's starting left tackle this season, filling a major hole on offense. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
Thanks for help bringing the economy back. One local purchase at a time.
Kind of uplifts you and you feel better.
It's the greatest comeback of all time. With Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
Republican Jamie Bowles for State House. From Pinecrest High School to Sandhills Community College, Jamie Bowles was born, raised, and educated in Moore County. A small business owner, Jamie Bowles shares our conservative values. Jamie Bowles cut income taxes for families and local businesses. He even eliminated taxes on military retirement, helping our community fight inflation, making this the best place to work and raise a family. That's conservative Jamie Bowles for State House, paid for by Main Street Merchants for a better North Carolina.
Fields Plumbing and Heating and Air Conditioning customers include the military, federal, state, and local governments, hospitals, and school systems, as well as many independent businesses. We stand by our services and products, and as a result, we are proud that our business comes from repeat business and customer referrals. Fields Plumbing and Heating and Air Conditioning also serves many residents in Moore and surrounding counties, and we have been in business for 70 years. Call 910-949-3232. 910-949-3232.
Aaron Cooper here with Cooper Ford. To say the past year and a half has been tough is an understatement. And it's during these times that we truly value the community in which we all live in. At Cooper Ford, we continue to do all we can to pour support back into the community because taking care of each other is what it's all about. And that's why we won't have any market adjustment stickers or any of our new Fords like so many other dealers. We believe in fair and honest pricing and have from day one. So please come see us here in beautiful Carthage or visit us on the web at cooperford.net.
Cooper Ford, working hard to be your hometown dealer.
Sears low price guarantee and price match policy. We will not be undersold. Hi, this is Catherine Phelps, new owner of your local hometown Sears store, where creating relationships and helping our customer make an informed buying decision is our business. Remember, we will price match any in-stock local competitor. See store for details. Shop your local Sears hometown store in the Town and Country Shopping Center, Aberdeen.
War Dogs Army Surplus is Moore County's largest selection of Army surplus. They buy, sell, and trade Army surplus, and they'll match any legitimate offer from competitors with a price match guarantee. They'll match and beat any competitor's price by 10%. With the largest selection of vintage and modern gear and collectibles, War Dogs has everything you're looking for. Open Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. to 5:30 p.m. and 11 a.m. to 4 p.m. on Saturdays. 675 Southwest Broad Street in Southern Pines, or call 910-920-7749. That's 910-920-7749. War Dogs. We offer more and sell for less.
Rudino's Pizza and Grinders is the place to watch all your favorite sports and try out their new drink menu. They were voted best pizza in Spectator magazine, but pizza isn't their only specialty. Come on in on Monday for burger night. Burgers and fries, just $8.99. Tuesday is family night. $22.99 for a large, one-topping pizza with a side of garlic cheese bread. Visit RudinoSouthernPines.com to see their complete menu and other weekly specials. Rudino's Pizza and Grinders on Pinehurst Avenue in Southern Pines.
Hi, this is Catherine Nagy, Director for Communications for Moore County Schools. Have you looked at your public schools lately? At Moore County Schools, you have choices. For kids who learn best face-to-face and who thrive on a daily schedule, you can attend school full-time in person. For kids who are homeschooled but want to attend school in person part-time, you can enroll in the Blend Ed program. For kids who learn well independently, are self-motivated, and want the flexibility of an entirely virtual option, you can enroll in the Connect Virtual Academy. Engage, inspire, succeed, in school, at home, or at both. It's time to take a new look at what public schools can do for your family. See what Moore County Schools can do for you at mcschoices.com.
New York Deli is a slice of the Big Apple in Pinehurst. Located in Olmsted Village, New York Deli offers authentic New York bagels and a full breakfast menu until 11 a.m. Looking for lunch? There are 33 signature sandwiches to choose from. New York-style pizza on Wednesdays and Fridays, and now offering Meatball Mondays. New York Deli is open weekdays from 7 a.m. to 3 p.m. Visit Moore County Takeout and Delivery Options Facebook page for our menu updates. Call 295-2264 for takeout, or have your order delivered via DoorDash, Grubhub, or Easy Bites.
There's a big world of computer hackers out there that spend all their time trying to get into your computer and your pocket. If you think you've been hacked or you're experiencing pop-ups and web addresses you didn't ask for, turn your PC or Mac off and bring it to WEEB Computer Repair right here at the WEEB Studios on Midland Road. No problem is too big for our super geek, and our prices are much lower than the box stores. WEEB Computer Repair, 690-9723. The home of the super geek.
You know they're out there. You know. You can't see them.
Can't see.
You can't hear them.
Can't hear.
But you know they're there.
They're there.
Termites. You know they're hungry.
Starving.
And you know your house is their main course. So you know you have to do something.
What can you do?
It's really quite simple. You ask for Termador, the unique treatment that wipes out 100% of the termites in your home in 3 months or less. Every last termite dead.
Bye-bye.
For a long, long time. Now you know. Only Termador is 100% effective against termites in 3 months or less. So ask for Termador by name from your pest control company. Because if you're not asking for Termador, you're asking for trouble.
Termador is available at Aberdeen Exterminating. Call 944-2474. That's 944-2474.
The greatest comeback of all time is underway. Remember to shop local businesses. A reminder from Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM. WEEB.
The Zumwalt Zone is proudly sponsored by Moore County Citizens for Freedom. Always looking out for you.
Hello, I'm John Zumwalt, and you're in the Zumwalt Zone. You know a phrase we hear, and in fact a phrase that we say a lot. A phrase that's easy to say, but we don't always do it. And it's extremely simple. Just make good choices. That's all there is to it. Just make good choices. Sometimes, though, it's not that easy. As an adult, I look back, and I remember there are a lot of times I didn't make a good choice. I'm not about to tell you what all of them were, but I will say that I probably should have thought twice before I painted Jesse Dukey's windshield green with a brush. Apparently, he either did not like the color or he didn't think it was all that funny. Either way, it goes in the category of make good choices. That's all I want to say about that, except to say that if you must paint someone's windshield, either get the right color or make sure it's not a big guy, just in case. In Moore County, we're about to make choices for school board. And we have choices. I believe the obvious choices for school board are Benway, Bruno, and Davis. I most certainly would not expect you to take my word for that, and I hope you'll research it and join me in supporting them. Their opponents are good people, and it'd be easy to vote for someone just because they're a good person. That's what got us in this trouble. We need change, serious change, not clones of our current school board. Benway, Bruno, and Davis are my obvious top picks. I hope you'll research, and I hope you'll join me in my support of them in the Zumwalt Zone.
Today we'll head into the mid-60s and the mid-70s. Those clouds will be moving in for today, and it's still going to be breezy as those winds move in out of the north. Tonight we'll fall to the mid-50s, and we'll begin to see our unsettled pattern move in starting tomorrow. Highs will be below normal for this time of the year in the upper 60s and lower 70s, but we're going to add rain to the mix, those showers building in from the east to the west. I'm meteorologist Peter Sherwood in the Weather Center.
And now, the Sandhills' #1 morning show. Mornings with the LeaderMan. Here on Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB. And heard and seen around the world at talk973.com.
The best part of waking up is waking up with us.
There is a fifth dimension beyond that which is known to man. It is a dimension as vast as space and as timeless as infinity.
Ooh, Twilight Zone?
This is the dimension of imagination.
That is weird.
It is an area which we call the Twilight Zone.
Imagine there's a day called National Twilight Zone Day.
Oh my God. This is like a Twilight Zone.
May 11th is National Twilight Zone Day.
Okay, next up, Twilight Zone. Welcome to the show.
Hand me down the walking cane, hand me down my hat. Every now and
play at a club outside of town. I was so surprised, I was hypnotized by the sound his cat put down. When I saw this short fat guy stretch a band between his toes, hey, I laughed so hard 'cause the man got down when it finally reached his nose. Hey, y'all, prepare yourself for the rubber band. Whoa, you never heard a sound like the rubber band. Man, you're bound to lose control when the rubber band starts to jam. Got that rubber band.
Good morning, Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM, WEEB. Welcome back to the most listened to program in all of the Sand Hills. Time once again for Mornings with the LeaderMan. I am Steve Leader Adams. Colonel's off today. Don't forget, of course, we are being heard and seen around the world on our live video stream. That's available from our website at talk973.com or talk1041.com or WEEB990.com. Top middle of the page is where that link's located. If you go to the upper right-hand corner of every one of our web pages, there's another link that you can hear our broadcast signal on 24/7. And that link up there, the icon says on the air, listen live. Click that once, you're listening that quick. It's going to be mostly sunny today. Nice day, high of 75. Then tonight, partly cloudy, a low of 57. The front starts moving through tomorrow. It'll be cloudy with a chance of showers, high of 69. Then Thursday night, cloudy with a chance of showers, a low of 61. Better chances for showers and thunderstorms on Friday with a high of 75. Friday night, more of the same of the wet stuff. Look for a low of 64. Saturday, still partly cloudy, 80% chance of showers and thunderstorms, high around 80. But then by Saturday night, all the rough stuff moves out. We'll go for a low of 66. Sunday will be nice. Well, it'll be hot too. Partly cloudy with a high of 86. Monday, sunny and 87. Tuesday, sunny and 87. Right now around the Sand Hills, winds are from the northeast at 1, gusting to 2. Pressure is 30-50. Solar radiation 33 watts per square meter. Dew point is 39. Humidity 52, and it's sunny and 56 degrees. Currently here at Talk 97.3 FM, 104.1 FM, and 990 AM WEEB.
So much rhythm, grace, and debonair from one man. Oh. And then he had the nerve to twiddle his left toe, but to his knee, got the feeling in his head, y'all. Oh, come on.
Okay, it's 8:35, 35 past the hour on this Wednesday hump day. You know, over the last several weeks, maybe the last month or two, well, I, as the owner of the station, have given away lots of airtime, 30 minutes each, to candidates who were willing to come on here and talk about their run for office. And we've done it with no strings attached. And those that came, you know, were able to have minutes that were only theirs, no questions asked, just say what you want to say. And I don't know how much fairer to be. I've been doing that for years. But sometimes you reach moments that you regret it. When you see your own party do bad things and don't seem to care. Now, it's no secret I'm running for sheriff. And I'm going to get into a whole lot of stuff here today that ain't purty, as they say. But let me back it up first with a little credential. Back when we had our last sheriff, Neil Godfrey, he was doing a lot of covering up of his son and his drinking problem and his being on duty drunk and driving cars drunk and nothing being done about it. He'd had numerous instances where the sheriff just let him go home and sleep it off. He should have been in a rehab immediately and getting help. But, you know, I can see the father's love kind of trumps a lot of things, but public safety shouldn't be one of them. And I had all that information. I had it when he came up to the hospital that final night his son was there and how drunk he was. And then Sheriff Godfrey sitting there and denying it ever happened, that he wasn't there. Although they had video of him there, sitting in a car for some 40 minutes with his son and a lieutenant, figuring out what their next play was going to be. Now, he claims he didn't come, but he did. Those that have seen the video say that was him, and there's no dispute about it. But he'll dispute it. But anyway, that led to his son dismissal, finally. But he didn't get what he should have gotten. That wasn't his first DWI. In fact, they didn't even charge him with DWI that night. They didn't go get a breathalyzer on him. They did several breathalyzers in the car, and they were well over 0.02. Let's see, 0.02. Some of them were nearing 0.03. But they didn't admit that into any evidence. The SBI finally got into it, but of course Neil, coming from the SBI, went at it from a different angle and calling in favors from the director of the SBI. So the whole bottom line was the son got a $100 fine and couldn't be a policeman anymore. That's it. This wasn't like I said, his first DWI, and probably should have spent some jail time. But of course he didn't. There's a two-tier justice system in this county. And that's one of the reasons I'm running, is to finally get it out of here, because it's still there. Whether you like it or not, or will admit it or not. Now, I know my opponent's a good old boy from Moore County. Well, I'm a good old boy from North Carolina who has lived in Moore County 31 years. And I've seen a lot of things. And I'm trying to do something about it, but I can't do it without your help and your willingness to change things. Now, the famous Sheriff Joe Arpaio from Arizona, Maricopa County, Arizona, he said that being sheriff was 1% about law enforcement and 99% about management. Well, that's where I come in. I managed 3 large corporations, one of them being my own creation from start, in which I built over 2,000 homes in the Raleigh area. And that was quite an experience. I went through 3 recessions up doing that. And I finally got tired of going through that. It's boom bust. You make good money in the boom, but you better save it all because you're going to need it in the bust cycles. And all the government regulation and the time it took, it used to be I could go in and get a permit in 10 minutes. But then it took, got up to days and then weeks and sometimes more than a month to get a building permit back, which was ludicrous. Meantime, you bought lots, and money is the interest ticker is going tick, 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 tick every second you own them, along with the tax liabilities. But government bureaucrats just don't care. You see, to speed things up or to get it done in a timely manner doesn't pay extra to them. So they don't have any incentive to do that, to offer good services. And that's true in a lot of departments in government. But getting back to the subject here, I gave facts about Neil, and they would try to bend those facts. One of them was the night that they caught his son drinking at the hospital. I said that the nurse had called the sheriff's office and telling them to get down there to help get rid of him. Well, actually, that happened. There was another incident that happened earlier in the week, and that's what I was referring to the first time. But the pilot jumps in, and they did an investigation, and they said no nurse called on that day, meaning the second time. Well, I didn't say the second time. I said the first time, which was days before, where his son showed up so inebriated that a nurse called the sheriff's department and said, "You got to replace this guy. He can't see his feet." So they did and covered it up. And the pilot helped out by not mentioning that incident. They just published, Adams said it happened, and the hospital said it didn't. Well, that's because they gave the hospital the wrong facts. So they could look it up. But they didn't, because that's the cover-up that goes on in this county. And I mention all this because, and we'll get into some stuff here we should be ashamed that it happens. And we need to step up and do something about it. I don't know which to start first with, what I plan on doing or the other stuff. Let me tell you what I'm going to do first if I'm elected sheriff. If you're willing to change the system for the better. Because usually just the way it works in this county is you have your sheriff, he goes 4 years, gets reelected, he goes 8.5 more years, and then he resigns, and the chief deputy moves up into the sheriff position, so he's got a year and a half jump on the next election. And he gets elected, and the cycle continues. And he'll go for 8.5 years, and then he'll retire. And then the next chief deputy moves up. And that's the way it's always been. It's the way it always works, it seems like. But this time, we can do something about it if you're willing to. Now, I know I don't have direct law enforcement experience. I've never claimed that I did. I've probably taken a whole lot more law classes than the average policeman has ever even looked at when I was in college. I took a whole bunch of law courses, but I haven't had on the street experience. But that's not the deterrent that it should be, because with me is going to be the best chief deputy this county has ever seen, who will be overseeing the law enforcement side of things. I'm going to be overseeing the management side of things and straighten things out. I'm going to first, one of the problems we have in this county is you throw somebody in the jail, let's say for drugs, and you have to get an official determination of what that drug is. You know it's meth, or you know it's coke, or whatever, but the lab has to certify that, and that can take anywhere from 6 months, and it has taken up to 3 years to get the lab results back. Or you need DNA test done. Takes 1 to 2 years to get that back. And all that time, those defendants are sitting there and sitting there and sitting there in the jail on the taxpayer nickel. Now, wouldn't it be nice if we could shorten that time, thus saving the taxpayer millions of dollars? Well, current sheriffs won't do it. Why? A lot more work. Doesn't pay them any extra. They have no incentive to do it. So I'm going to do it for you if you will let me do it. We will put in our own crime lab. When I say we put our own in, we're going to lease it, just like they do over in Fayetteville. We're going to lease it and give it with the space in the detention center that was designed for a crime lab. And we'll put them in there, and we'll get our results back in 3 days instead of 2 to 3 years. And then we can get to trial within 3 months instead of 2 to 3 years. And that amounts to a whole lot of money in savings because they will no longer be in the jail. They'll get the trial, they'll get their verdict, and then we'll see where they go from there. But at least we'll get them out of the jail cells. Now, that creates more cells. Now, we can have up to about 120. Right now, the most of the capacity we need is maybe a third of it. And we can have up to 122 empty cells. Well, what's the advantage of that? Well, those cells we can then lease out to neighboring counties or to the federal government for their shortage of jail cells. One of the rising companies in the country are private prisons and jails. So there is demand out there for it. So you get them leased out, and it can bring back in anywhere from $5 to $25 million. That money can then be used for schools. Every 5-6 years, we got another school paid for, and we don't have to go out and borrow money and pay interest, which does nobody any good. We can actually afford ourselves simply by properly managing our own assets. But nobody will do it because it's extra effort and doesn't pay any extra. Man, I went up there to tell them we should build our own courthouse by hiring, like we did the detention center. We actually did it right on that. Hired a superintendent to come build it for us. Paid him a bonus for meeting the deadline. He was happy. We got it for 2/3 of what would otherwise cost. And what do we do this time? We go out and subcontract it out. We go out and issue a contract to a company, I believe it's out of Raleigh, to come build it. Well, was it Raleigh or South Carolina? Either way, the money's out of our economy here in Moore County. It goes elsewhere. A lot of good that does us. We just keep on slapping ourselves in the face and shooting our own foot off. But that's a different issue. But I'm going to lease out the jail cells. They did that in Ashe County, up in the mountains of North Carolina. They had a new courthouse, too. And they took the lease money and paid off their courthouse. And then we need to raise the deputies' pay out of what we save. We need to raise it substantially so that we get the best of the best. And we get a very low turnover rate. Right now, turnover rate is 34%. And so we just become a training ground for the surrounding law agencies, or, like city cops, town cops. We just train them and they snap them up with more money. And then we got to go get a new one to train. We don't seem to retain them very well. But we could. And then we're going to do, I'm going to concentrate on drug crimes. At the heart of almost every crime out there, you'll find drugs in there. Whether it's a robbery, murder, an assault, usually it's for drug money. Drugs are running rampant. And we got to start choking it off. That means going after the suppliers and going after them aggressively to where we chase them out of Moore County. And say, well, if that stop drugs? No, they'll still go out of the county to go get it, but we can be waiting at the county line when they come back. So that's what I want to do as sheriff. It'll be the first time in the history of that department that it actually runs like it ought to run. But I tell you right now, I'm ashamed to say what all goes on in that sheriff department. Now, I told you about Neil Godfrey because I just wanted to shore up my credibility about what I'm getting ready to say. I don't say things unless I know it to be fact. And I might get a small detail wrong here and there, but the guts of it is all fact. And that's what I'm getting ready to tell you. Because it's shameful what's going on. For the last couple of years, well, let me first back up. I've already told you about the 4 people I know of that the sheriff asked favors from. And he asked it in a forceful way by telling them if they didn't cooperate, he would upset their quality of life and their livelihoods by using his power. Now, what kind of sheriff does that? I'll tell you what kind of thug. Who thinks that he's above the law and can do things like that. But it gets worse, my friends. Now, I know for a fact there were at least 4 deputies out there pulling cars over that happened to have young women in them. And then the deputies working out, let's say a little favor for a favor to not issue the ticket. You know what I'm talking about. I don't have to get into the graphic details. Sad thing is the sheriff knew about it too. Did nothing. They're still there the last time I checked on it. But this shouldn't happen at all. This is the lack of leadership. And I'll tell you something else. There are even worse things that happen that the sheriff definitely knows about. But I'm not going to disclose it. I'm not going to go but just so deep in the mud. I'm in pretty deep. Most people say, you're just making that up. No, I'm not. I wouldn't say it if it was not true. And he knows it's true. He'll deny it, I'm sure. That confirms he's a liar, too. But what I'm telling you is the truth. And we need to make a change. This will be the only time you get to change things. Because you get the last say at the ballot box. If you're going to go vote for the good old boy, well, not much I can do about that. But if you think we need to make the change, and we do, you need to call your family and friends and everybody you can think of, post it on your social media to vote for me. One thing I don't do is lie. Another thing I don't do, I don't get involved with scum, with scummy stuff within the organization. Got one letter from one of the deputies that said that little supervision is put forth on the departments within the sheriff's department, that the sheriff only comes by to sign documents, but each one of the people in charge of the departments have carte blanche to do it their way or whatever they want to do. And that isn't the way it should happen. There needs to be organization in there and a flow of the way things happen. And not 10 different departments run by 10 captains who all have their own way. That's like having 10 different sheriffs. You need only one. Now, I'm asking you to make the change. If you will, this county will be a lot better for it. We'll have a whole lot more money to do the things with this county that we need, because the money saved doesn't go to the sheriff's department. It goes into the county well. And we need to take advantage of it. So I'm asking you to give me a chance. I won't let you down. You'll have the best sheriff's department in the state. I promise. And you will be glad you did, because we're going to clean up this scummy mess that's going on in the sheriff's department, and the good old boy system. Yeah, we got the good old boy system where rules apply to thee but not to me. Happens all the time. Question is, are you going to do something about it or not? I need you to show up. I need you to get on your social media and tell everybody you know to vote for me. Because you have the ultimate say. The question is, will you say it? Can we please get this bad influence out of our sheriff's department and get back to integrity that was just not there anymore? All right, and so it goes for this. By the way, vote for Adams for sheriff. And this is paid for by Adams for sheriff. So it goes for this Wednesday. Have yourself a great, safe day. We'll see you back bright and early tomorrow, 7 to 9 for a Thumping Thursday. Until then, be sure to support all the mom and pop businesses you hear on WEEB, because they're the backbone of our economy. Your money will stay here, roll over, and create jobs when you give them first crack at your dollars. And don't forget also that millions of Americans have fought, and they have died to give and protect the freedoms that you get to enjoy today. Live today worthy of their and their family sacrifice. I'm Steve Leader Adams and the Leader Man, and Nick and Colt the dog will all see you this afternoon at the dog park.